Commander Zalthar stared at the holographic projection of the blue-green planet with obvious disdain. His scaled fingers flicked through the data readings as the bridge of the Galactic Confederation scout ship hummed with activity. Another waterlogged rock, he said to his crew. 70% covered in dihydrogen monoxide. Chaotic weather patterns. Unstable tectonic activity. He zoomed in on the land masses. And look at these primitive settlements. They've barely managed to reach their own moon. The blue-skinned science officer, Krilzon, moved closer to the display. But the radio signals suggest a technological civilization, Commander, and their satellites. Crude devices, Zalthar interrupted. Their most advanced computers would embarrass a Confederation child's toy. He gestured dismissively at the planet. Still, protocol requires we catalog all potentially sentient species. Prepare a first contact team. Diplomat Nexivora, who had been quietly observing from the side of the bridge, stepped forward. Her glittering eyes narrowed as she studied the planet. Something about this world seems familiar. It's just another backwater, Zalthar said. We'll make contact, assess their resources, and determine if they're worthy of provisional membership or merely exploitation. Captain Lisa Ramirez was enjoying her morning coffee when the alert flashed across her tablet. She nearly spilled the hot liquid as she read the urgent message from North American Space Command. Unidentified object approaching Earth at sublight speed. Definitely not one of ours. Lisa set down her coffee and rushed to her car. 20 minutes later, she strode into the underground military complex where controlled chaos reigned. Technicians and officers moved with purpose between workstations. Voices kept professionally calm despite the historic nature of what was happening. Status report, Lisa demanded as she approached the main monitoring station. Major Greg Winters looked up. From his console, object has slowed and entered high Earth orbit. Definitely artificial and massive, about half a mile long. No response to our communication attempts. Keep broadcasting the welcome message on all frequencies, Lisa said. And get me Dr. Murphy, Doctor. Alan Murphy arrived 15 minutes later, looking disheveled as if he'd dressed in a hurry. His eyes were bright with excitement beneath his messy brown hair. Is it true? He asked Lisa. Actual aliens? Looks that way, Lisa replied. I need your xenobiology expertise. We have no idea what we're dealing with. I've been preparing for this my whole career, Alan said with a grin. But I never actually thought it would happen. The main screen flickered, causing everyone in the command center to freeze. The image of a humanoid figure appeared, tall and slender with iridescent skin and large almond-shaped eyes. People of Earth, the figure spoke in perfect English. I am Diplomat Nexivora of the Galactic Confederation, an alliance of 32 spacefaring civilizations. We come in peace to evaluate your world for potential relations with our community of worlds. After a moment of stunned silence, Lisa stepped forward. This is Captain Lisa Ramirez of Earth's North American Space Command. We welcome you and request permission to send a delegation to meet with you. Nexivora seemed surprised by the quick response. Your communication technology is more functional than we anticipated. Very well. We will send coordinates for a landing zone. When the transmission ended, the room erupted in excited chatter. Lisa turned to Alan, her expression serious. I don't like her tone, she said quietly. Alan nodded. Did you catch that look of surprise? They're underestimating us. That might work to our advantage, Lisa replied. Assemble your team. We're going to meet some aliens. The Confederation shuttle landed in an open field outside of Denver. A perimeter of military vehicles surrounded the area, keeping back the growing crowd of civilians and press who had gathered despite efforts to keep the landing location secret. Lisa stood at the front of the Earth delegation, which included Alan, military personnel, and government representatives from several nations. Her dress uniform felt stiff and uncomfortable, but she maintained perfect posture as the shuttle's door opened with a soft hiss. 3 aliens emerged. In the center walked Nexivora, flanked by Commander Zalthar and scientist Krilzon. They approached with smooth, gliding steps. You breathe oxygen, Alan whispered, making notes on his tablet. Bipedal, roughly humanoid. Fascinating. Naxavora stopped a few feet from Lisa and inclined her head slightly. Captain Ramirez, how remarkable that your species has managed space travel despite your challenging environment. Your resilience is unexpected. Lisa forced a smile. Earth has been good to us. We've adapted well to our home. Zalthar made a sound that might have been a snort. Your adaptation is incomplete. Your bodies are fragile. Your lifespan's brief. You still suffer from countless diseases and environmental threats. We manage, Lisa replied coolly. Krilzon stepped forward, extending a device that emitted a soft blue light. May I? It's simply a cultural exchange protocol, non-invasive. Alan stepped forward excitedly. Of course. We're eager to share information. The device scanned over them, pausing briefly when it passed over a gold watch on one of the human delegate's wrists. Krilzon's eyes widened slightly. Is something wrong? Lisa asked. No, Krilzon said quickly. Your metallurgical work is interesting for your development stage. The aliens were escorted to a nearby temporary structure set up for the meeting. As they walked, Zalthar looked around with obvious contempt. Your atmosphere is quite thick, and this gravity. How do you manage to evolve in such conditions? We find it comfortable, Lisa replied. I imagine we'd feel quite light on your world. The Confederation includes worlds of all types, Naxavora interjected smoothly. Perhaps one day yours will join our community. With guidance, your species might advance more rapidly. Inside the meeting facility, presentations had been prepared about Earth's history, culture, and achievements. The aliens watched with expressions that shifted between boredom and occasional surprise. When Alan demonstrated some of humanity's latest technological achievements, Zalthar laughed openly. You're proud of these crude devices? We mastered quantum computing millennia ago. Lisa noticed that despite their dismissive words, the aliens were paying close attention to certain artifacts displayed in the cultural exchange area. Particularly, ancient gold items from various human civilizations seemed to draw their interest when they thought no one was watching. During a brief recess, Lisa pulled Alan aside. They're hiding something, she whispered. Did you see how they reacted to the ancient artifacts? Alan nodded. And they keep asking about remote locations. Antarctica, deep ocean trenches, the Sahara. Places where few humans live, Lisa mused. Or places where something might be hidden, Alan added. When the meeting resumed, Naxavora made an announcement. The Confederation has decided your species shows potential. We would like to establish a permanent embassy on your world and begin cultural exchange. We also request access to several uninhabited regions for scientific study. What exactly would you be studying? Lisa asked. Naxavora's smile didn't reach her eyes. Simply geological and biological surveys. Standard procedure for all newly discovered worlds. Lisa caught a meaningful glance between Zalthar and Krilzon. We'll need to discuss your requests with our world leaders, Lisa said carefully. Earth operates under multiple governments. How inefficient, Zalthar remarked. Perhaps, Lisa replied with a tight smile, but it's our way. We look forward to learning more about the Confederation, just as I'm sure you have much to learn about Earth. Something in her tone made Naxavora's eyes narrow slightly. The aliens didn't realize that humans had been negotiating with each other for thousands of years. They might have advanced technology, but Lisa suspected humans had something the aliens didn't expect. Something that made these advanced beings both curious and uneasy about Earth. And she intended to find out what it was. Dr. Alan Murphy couldn't sleep. It had been 3 days since the aliens arrived, and something about their behavior bothered him. He sat in his small office at the temporary First Contact facility, surrounded by ancient artifacts borrowed from museums around the world. The aliens had requested to see items from Earth's oldest civilizations, claiming scholarly interest in human development. Alan studied a small golden figurine from Mesopotamia, about 4,500 years old. The alien scientist Krilzon had almost dropped it when he first held it, his hands trembling. Just excitement over meeting a new species, Krilzon had explained. Alan didn't believe him. The door opened, and Lisa walked in, looking tired. Still working? Something's not right, Alan said. They ask about ancient sites, get nervous around old artifacts, and keep scanning everything with their devices. Lisa nodded and sat down. They've requested access to 23 remote locations: Antarctica, deep ocean sites, the Sahara, parts of the Amazon, and places in China no one visits. Places where ancient human civilizations might have left something, Alan mused. Or where something might be hidden, Lisa added. Alan picked up a tablet and showed Lisa images of ancient symbols found in different parts of the world. Look at these carvings from Egypt, India, and Peru. They're thousands of miles apart, created by civilizations that never met, but they share similar patterns. What does that mean? Lisa asked. I don't know, but Krilzon nearly fainted when I showed him. A knock at the door interrupted them. Lieutenant Joe Dawson, a young military officer assigned to the security team, entered with a worried expression. Captain, we've got a problem. 3 alien scouts left their embassy without notification. Satellite tracking shows they're heading toward the Great Pyramid in Egypt. Get a team ready, Lisa ordered, standing quickly. We're going after them. The night was cool as Lisa, Alan, and Joe led a small team across the desert toward the Great Pyramid. The massive stone structure loomed against the starry sky. Heat signatures show they entered the pyramid 10 minutes ago, Joe whispered, checking his tactical display. They bypassed all security systems. How did they know where to go? Alan wondered. They've only been on Earth for days. The team cautiously entered the pyramid through the main tourist entrance. Joe's equipment guided them through the ancient corridors. Deep inside, they heard voices echoing from below. That's impossible, Alan whispered. There are no known chambers this deep. They followed the sounds to what appeared to be a solid wall. Joe's scanner indicated hollow space beyond. They went through here somehow, he said. Alan ran his hands over the wall and pressed a stone that looked slightly different. To everyone's surprise, a section of the wall slid open silently. How did you know? Lisa asked. Alan looked stunned. I don't know. It just seemed right. They entered a narrow passage that sloped downward, lit by a soft blue glow that didn't come from any human light source. After walking for several minutes, they heard the aliens' voices growing louder. The passage opened into a large chamber that couldn't possibly have been built with ancient human technology. The walls were made of a smooth metallic material that softly pulsed with light. In the center stood Commander Zalthar, diplomat Nexvora, and scientist Krilzon, gathered around a pedestal. This confirms it, Zalthar was saying. We need to inform the High Command immediately. Lisa stepped forward. Inform them of what, exactly? The aliens spun around, clearly shocked to find humans there. How did you find this place? Nexvora demanded. This is our planet, Lisa replied coolly. The better question is, how did you know this was here? Krilzon looked nervously at a device on the pedestal. We should explain. Silence, Zalthar hissed. They know nothing. Alan approached the pedestal slowly. The device was pyramid-shaped, made of a material that resembled gold, but seemed to flow like liquid. Strange symbols covered its surface, symbols identical to those in Alan's research. I've seen these before, Alan said. They appear in ancient sites across Earth. Impossible, Zalthar snapped. Your species is too primitive to understand. Alan reached out and touched the device before anyone could stop him. The symbols lit up with a golden glow, and the device began to hum. The aliens backed away in alarm. What did you do? Nexvora gasped. Before Alan could answer, the device projected a holographic image above the pedestal. A figure appeared, humanoid, but with features that seemed both alien and strangely familiar. When it spoke, the language was unlike anything the humans had heard before. Yet somehow Alan understood fragments of it. I recognize elements of this language, he said in amazement. It's similar to Proto-Indo-European, the theoretical ancestor of many human languages. That's absurd, Zalthar said, but his voice lacked conviction. The hologram continued its message, pointing to star charts that appeared in the air. It's showing Earth, Alan translated slowly, and calling it home. Shut it off, Zalthar ordered Krilzon. Now. Before Krilzon could reach the device, Joe stepped forward, his hand on his weapon. Nobody touches anything until we get answers. The standoff was interrupted by a tremor that shook the chamber. Dust fell from above as the hologram grew larger, now filling the room with images of massive structures, advanced technology, and beings that looked surprisingly human. What is this? Lisa demanded. Nexvora exchanged glances with her companions, then sighed. It appears we must tell you the truth. The beings you see are the architects, the most advanced civilization known to the galaxy. They vanished 50,000 years ago, leaving behind technology that formed the foundation of all advanced species, including our own. What does this have to do with Earth? Alan asked, though he was beginning to suspect the answer. We believed the architects. Homeworld was lost forever, Krilzon explained. But our long-range scans detected energy signatures from your planet matching architect technology. We came to investigate. You came to steal, Lisa corrected. To reclaim, Zalthar insisted. Your primitive species couldn't possibly be related to the architects. The hologram focused on an image of Earth as it might have looked thousands of years ago, with strange structures visible on all continents. Then it showed humans, ancient humans, working alongside the beings identified as architects. This can't be right, Nexvora whispered. Alan studied the images with growing excitement. But it makes sense. The shared symbols across isolated human civilizations, the strange similarities in ancient structures worldwide. Earth is the architect homeworld, Lisa realized. And humans are their descendants, Alan finished. Or at least, somehow, related to them. Zalthar's communication device suddenly buzzed. He answered it, speaking rapidly in his own language. His expression grew alarmed. What's happening? Lisa demanded. Our main vessel has detected multiple energy signatures activating across your planet, Zalthar admitted reluctantly. Ancient systems, dormant for millennia, are coming online. Another tremor, stronger than the first, shook the chamber. The hologram showed the pyramid they were standing in, highlighting mechanisms built into its structure that no human archaeologist had ever discovered. The architects didn't just visit Earth, Krilzon said in awe. They made it their home and they left their legacy into humans. Zalthar backed toward the exit. We need to leave immediately, to contact our fleet. Fleet? Joe asked sharply. You said you came in peace. And we did, Nexvora said quickly. But our leaders will want to know about this discovery. So they can claim Earth for themselves? Lisa challenged. Before any alien could respond, the device on the pedestal pulsed brightly, and a new hologram appeared, a map showing dozens of similar devices across Earth, all beginning to activate. What have you done? Zalthar demanded of Alan. I didn't do anything, Alan replied, but I think Earth is waking up. Lisa's phone rang as they emerged from the pyramid into the cool night air. The aliens walked ahead, speaking urgently among themselves in their own language. Captain Ramirez, she answered, keeping her eyes on the aliens. Captain, this is General Frank Dawson at Space Command. We're tracking multiple objects entering Earth orbit, big ones. Lisa's stomach tightened. How many? 7 vessels, each about twice the size of the first alien ship. They're not responding to communications. They lied to us, Lisa said, glaring at the aliens. Your fleet is already here. Nexvora turned, her expression tense. We did not summon them. This is unexpected. You expect us to believe that? Joe asked. Krilzon stepped forward. It's true. Standard protocol would require at least 3 more cycles before reinforcements arrived. Someone has accelerated the timeline. Why would they do that? Alan asked. Zalthar's eyes narrowed. Because of what we found. The Confederation has searched for the architect homeworld for generations. If Earth truly is that world, then Earth just became the most valuable planet in the galaxy. Nexvora finished. Lisa's phone rang again. Ramirez. Captain, this is Dr. Powell at the Antarctic Research Station. Something incredible is happening. The ice shelf near our location is changing. There's some kind of structure emerging. Similar reports flooded in from around the world. In the Sahara, sand shifted to reveal metallic structures. Deep-sea research stations reported massive energy readings from the ocean floor. Ancient sites worldwide were activating, responding to some unknown signal. We need to get back to headquarters, Lisa said. All of us, including our alien guests. We should return to our ship, Zalthar insisted. Not a chance, Joe said, his hand resting on his weapon. You're staying with us until we figure out what's happening. At the emergency command center, screens showed images from around the world. Scientists, military personnel, and government officials worked frantically to understand the unfolding situation. The alien vessels in orbit maintained their position, but had deployed smaller craft that hovered over the locations where architect technology was activating. Alan studied the data coming in from various sites, with Krilzon reluctantly providing insights about architect technology. Despite their earlier deception, the aliens seemed genuinely surprised by the scale of what was happening. The architects built their technology to last, Krilzon explained. Most Confederation advancements are based on fragments we've discovered, across dozens of worlds. But this is their primary infrastructure, preserved for millennia. But why would it activate now? Alan wondered. Lisa joined them, looking worried. The Confederation fleet is demanding we surrender Earth to their authority. They claim exclusive rights to all architect technology. That's outrageous, Joe said. They also say if we resist, they'll take what they want by force. Nex Vora, who had been quiet, finally spoke. You don't understand the significance of this discovery. The architect's technology is thousands of years beyond anything the Confederation possesses, and we thought ourselves advanced. Control of this world would make the Confederation unstoppable. It's not their world to control, Lisa said firmly. A scientist rushed over with a tablet. Dr. Murphy, we've managed to translate more of the holographic message from Egypt. You need to see this. The tablet showed the translated text. To our children who remain, when you are ready, what we have left behind will awaken. Earth is your inheritance, the cradle of our kind and yours. The stars await your return. Alan read it twice, his mind racing. Their children. They're talking about humans. Impossible, Zalthar scoffed. The architects were vastly superior beings. Your species is primitive by comparison. Maybe we've been evolving, Alan suggested. Or maybe they modified themselves to survive Earth's changing conditions over time. Or maybe, Lisa added, they deliberately simplified themselves, starting over for some reason. The main screen suddenly showed a new alert. The Antarctic structure was fully exposed now, a massive tower of gleaming metal that had been hidden beneath the ice for countless centuries. Similar structures were emerging worldwide. The activation is accelerating, a technician reported. Just then, one of the Confederation ships fired on a small research satellite. The response was immediate. A pulse of energy shot from the Antarctic tower, enveloping Earth in a shimmering barrier. When it struck the Confederation fleet, their systems went dark. The ships drifted powerless. Automated defense system, Krilzon whispered in awe. The legends mentioned this. The architects could disable enemy technology without destroying it. Self-defense only, Alan noted. It didn't fire until they attacked. Lisa's phone rang again. The voice on the other end sounded panicked. There's someone demanding to speak with Earth's leaders. He says he's the Grand Admiral of the Confederation fleet. Put him through to the main screen, Lisa ordered. The image of a stern alien appeared. His ornate uniform and the elaborate crest on his shoulder marked him as high-ranking. I am Grand Admiral Corvex of the Galactic Confederation. Your primitive world has activated defense systems belonging to the architects. This technology is the rightful property of the Confederation. Deactivate these systems immediately and surrender your world for proper management. Lisa stepped forward. This is Captain Lisa Ramirez of Earth. The technology you refer to was built on our world by beings who appear to be our ancestors. We have no intention of surrendering our planet or our heritage. Corvex's expression darkened. You claim to be descendants of the architects? Preposterous. Your species barely understands space travel. Yet somehow, Alan interjected, the architect systems respond to us, and not to you. Corvex was silent for a moment. We have studied architect technology for millennia. Everything we know suggests they were a vastly superior species. Perhaps they were, Lisa agreed, but they left this world to us, and we intend to keep it. The transmission ended abruptly. Joe approached with a tactical update. The Confederation ships are regaining partial power. Our satellites show more. Vessels approaching the solar system. How many? Lisa asked. At least 30. It looks like they're mobilizing their entire fleet. Alan turned to Krilzon. You said the architects had technology beyond what the Confederation possesses. What else might be waiting to be activated? Krilzon hesitated, then replied. The records speak of a network. Instantaneous travel between worlds, control over gravity and energy, the ability to create or destroy matter. If even half the legends are true, then Earth isn't just the architect's home, Lisa realized. It's the control center for their entire civilization's technology. Next Vora approached Lisa. Captain, I believe I've made a serious error in judgment. The Confederation seeks to control what it doesn't understand. But if humans truly are the inheritors of the architect legacy, then we need to learn how to use it, Lisa finished, before your fleet decides to take it by force. The ground trembled again as more ancient systems activated around the world. Earth was awakening, revealing its true nature after 50,000 years of slumber, and humanity found itself the unexpected heirs to the greatest technological legacy in the galaxy. Alan looked at the images of structures emerging across the planet. We need to get to Antarctica. If that's the largest structure, it might be the main control center. I'll go with you, Krilzon offered. My knowledge of architect records may help. Can we trust you? Lisa asked. The Confederation lied to you, Krilzon admitted. But I am a scientist first. This discovery is too important for political games. Lisa nodded. Joe, prepare a team. We're going to Antarctica. As they left to prepare, the main screen showed the disabled Confederation ships drifting in Earth orbit, illuminated by the glow of the energy shield that now surrounded the planet. The same planet they had dismissed as a primitive backwater just days before. The military aircraft cut through the frigid Antarctic air. Inside, Lisa, Alan, Joe, and Krilzon reviewed satellite images of the massive structure that had emerged from the ice. It stood nearly a mile high, a gleaming tower of metal and crystal that seemed to absorb and reflect light in impossible ways. The main control center, Krilzon explained. According to our records, the architects built hubs on worlds they considered important, but nothing matches the size of this structure. Because this was their home, Alan said. If we're truly their descendants, Lisa wondered, why don't we remember them? Why isn't this knowledge part of our history? Krilzon's expression grew somber. The records speak of a great calamity. Perhaps your ancestors survived but lost their technology and knowledge. Or it was hidden on purpose, Joe suggested. Waiting until we were ready. The pilot's voice came over the intercom. 2 minutes to landing. You might want to see this. They moved to the windows. The landscape below was transformed. What had been a flat ice shelf now featured geometric patterns of exposed metal stretching for miles in every direction. The tower at the center pulsed with soft blue light. It's beautiful, Alan whispered. They landed on a cleared area near the base of the tower. A small research team had already established a perimeter. Dr. Susan Kelly, a senior physicist, greeted them as they disembarked. Captain Ramirez, Dr. Murphy. Thank goodness you're here. This place is, well, see for yourself. She led them toward an entrance that had formed at the base of the tower. The opening was perfectly sized for humans to walk through comfortably. Inside, the air was surprisingly warm. The structure adjusted its environment when we approached, Susan explained, almost like it was expecting us. The interior was illuminated by the same soft blue light that emanated from the walls. Corridors branched in multiple directions, and strange symbols, similar to those Alan had studied, covered various surfaces. "I recognize some of these markings," Alan said, approaching a wall panel. "They're similar to the oldest writing systems, on Earth but more complex." When he touched the panel, it lit up. Holographic displays appeared, showing images of stars, planets, and what looked like transportation routes between them. "A map of architect territories," Krilzon said with reverence, "spanning thousands of light years." Lisa's phone rang. "Ramirez. Captain, this is General Dawson. The Confederation reinforcements have arrived. 35 ships, larger than the first wave. They're maintaining position beyond the moon's orbit, likely due to our defensive shield. Their admiral is demanding to speak with you directly." "Put him through," Lisa said. Grand Admiral Korvex's face appeared on her screen. "Captain Ramirez, your primitive defense systems have made communication difficult. We demand immediate access to the architect installations." "As I told you before, Admiral, this is our world and our heritage," Lisa replied firmly. "Your species crawled out of caves while we were already traveling between stars," Korvex snapped. "You cannot possibly understand or control architect technology." As if responding to his words, the structure around them hummed with new energy. The holographic display expanded, filling the chamber with a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Hundreds of points lit up, connected by lines that seemed to represent travel routes. "The architect network," Krilzon gasped. "It's vast, far larger than anything the Confederation has mapped." Lisa showed the display to her phone camera, letting Admiral Korvex see it. "It seems the technology disagrees with you, Admiral. It responds to us, not you." Korvex's expression darkened. "This changes nothing. We have studied the architects for millennia. Your primitive minds cannot possibly—" The transmission suddenly cut off as the entire structure vibrated. New displays activated around them, showing the Confederation fleet. Several ships were moving closer, weapon systems powering up. "They're attacking," Joe said. Before anyone could respond, the tower's defenses activated. Beams of energy shot upward from the structure and similar installations worldwide. They didn't target the Confederation ships directly, but formed a more complex pattern in Earth's orbit. Susan checked her instruments. "These energy signatures, they're creating some kind of field beyond our defensive shield." On their displays, they watched as strange distortions appeared near several points in space. The distortions grew, forming what looked like openings in the fabric of space itself. "Transportation gates," Krilzon whispered in awe. The legends were true. The architects could create pathways through spacetime. The nearest Confederation ships attempted to fire on Earth, but their weapons' energy was absorbed by the shield. In response, several objects that had appeared to be asteroids in Earth's orbit suddenly lit up with the same blue energy as the tower. Hidden orbital platforms, Alan realized. They've been there all along, disguised as natural objects. The platforms emitted pulses that washed over the approaching Confederation ships. One by one, the alien vessels went dark, drifting powerless just like the first wave. Lisa's phone rang again. This time it was an emergency broadcast from Space Command. "Captain, we're detecting massive energy readings from those gateways forming. In orbit. Something's coming through." They watched the displays as objects emerged from the spatial distortions. Not ships, but stations. Massive, elegant structures that positioned themselves in strategic locations around Earth. "The Architect Defense Network," Krilzon explained. "Not weapons of destruction, but systems of protection and control. They're establishing a perimeter." Alan studied the new holographic information appearing before them. "These stations are connecting to the structures on Earth. They're forming a network." Susan pointed to new data appearing on her tablet. "The energy output is... I can't even measure it. Whatever these systems are, they could power our entire civilization for centuries." A new hologram formed in the center of the chamber. A humanoid, figure similar to the one they had seen in Egypt, but more detailed, more present. "Welcome, children of Earth," it said in a language that somehow everyone present could understand. "The time of awakening has come." Who are you? Lisa asked. I am an echo, a guide left to help you reclaim your inheritance. I represent those you call the architects, though we called ourselves by another name. You are our descendants modified over generations to survive Earth's changing conditions after the Great Calamity. What calamity? Alan asked. A cosmic event that nearly destroyed our civilization. We chose to remain on Earth, to simplify, to begin anew while our knowledge and technology slept beneath the surface, to awaken when you were ready to return to the stars. Joe looked confused. Return? But we've barely reached our own moon. Your journey has just begun, the hologram replied. But the galaxy remembers us. Others have built upon our scattered remains, claimed our legacy as their own. Now you must reclaim it. The hologram gestured, and new displays showed the Confederation fleet now completely immobilized. Those who came seeking to take what is yours will learn that Earth belongs to its children. You are the inheritors of our knowledge, our purpose, our destiny. Lisa stepped forward. We don't want war with the Confederation. Nor did we. The hologram responded. Our technology defends but does not destroy. The choice of peace will be theirs to make. Krilzon approached the hologram cautiously. My people have studied your artifacts for generations. We thought ourselves your successors. All sentient life has its place, the hologram replied. But Earth and its systems respond to human genetic patterns, human thought. This was our design. The structure vibrated again as more systems came online worldwide. On the displays, they could see cities around the globe reacting to the awakening technology. Power grids stabilizing, pollution clearing from the air, damaged ecosystems beginning to heal. The restoration begins, the hologram explained. Earth was meant to be more than you have known. A world in balance, a cradle for your civilization's return to greatness. Lisa looked at her companions, then back at the hologram. How do we proceed? Learn. Connect. Remember, the hologram replied. The knowledge of ages awaits you. And when you are ready, the stars will welcome you home, not as newcomers, but as returning children of the oldest civilization the galaxy has ever known. 3 days had passed since the awakening began. Earth was transformed. Ancient structures had emerged on every continent. The shield surrounding the planet hummed with quiet energy, protecting it from the still-growing Confederation fleet that now numbered over 60 vessels. Inside the United Nations building in New York, world leaders gathered for an emergency summit. The large chamber buzzed with nervous energy as Lisa, Alan, and Joe entered, accompanied by Nexivora and Krilzon. The aliens drew suspicious glances, but no one objected to their presence. The Secretary General spoke first. Captain Ramirez, Dr. Murphy. The world thanks you for your service during this unprecedented situation. Please, share what you've learned. From the Antarctic Control Center, Lisa stepped forward. Thank you, Madam Secretary. To summarize what we know, Earth was the homeworld of an advanced civilization called the Architects. They were the first spacefaring species in our region of the galaxy, establishing a vast network of worlds and technologies. According to the information we've accessed, a cosmic event forced them to change approximately 50,000 years ago. Alan continued. Rather than abandon Earth, they chose to simplify themselves, genetically altering their species to better survive the changing conditions while hiding their technology beneath the surface. We are their descendants, meant to inherit their legacy when ready. And who decides when we're ready? Asked the Chinese representative. The systems themselves, Alan explained. They're designed to respond to human development and need. Our recent space exploration and global challenges triggered the awakening. What does this mean for Earth? The Russian leader asked. Lisa activated a holographic display showing the orbital network now surrounding Earth. The architect, or should we say, our ancestors, technology is beyond anything we imagined. Clean energy production, environmental, restoration, medical advancements. The knowledge contained in these systems could solve our greatest challenges and make us targets, the American president noted, gesturing toward the image of the Confederation fleet. These aliens still want What we have. Nexvora stepped forward hesitantly. If I may speak, leaders of Earth, the Confederation built its power by collecting and controlling architect technology found across many worlds. The revelation that Earth is the source of that technology, and that humans are the rightful inheritors, threatens the foundation of Confederation authority. Why should we trust anything you say? Demanded the Indian Prime Minister. Because I have seen the truth, Nexvora replied. My people were wrong about Earth, wrong about humans. Krilzon added, the technology responds to human genetic patterns, and thought, it was designed for you, not us. This cannot be denied even by the Confederation leadership. The doors to the chamber opened and a military aide rushed in, whispering urgently to Joe. He then approached Lisa and spoke quietly. Grand Admiral Korvex is requesting permission to address this assembly. His flagship has entered Earth atmosphere under escort from our defense systems. The Secretary General consulted briefly with the Security Council, then nodded. Allow it. Minutes later, Grand Admiral Korvex entered the chamber. His tall frame and ornate uniform were less impressive now, his previous arrogance replaced by cautious respect. Leaders of Earth, he began, his voice translated through a device at his collar. 3 days ago I considered your world a primitive backwater, your species barely worth diplomatic consideration. Today I stand corrected by evidence that cannot be denied. He activated a small projector showing images of the architect systems, now active worldwide. My scientists confirm that these installations respond only to human commands. Our attempts to access or control them have failed completely. More significantly, we have analyzed the genetic patterns embedded in the command protocols. They match human DNA precisely. So you admit that Earth belongs to humans? Lisa asked. I admit that the evidence suggests your species has a connection to the architects that mine does not, Korvex replied carefully. This complicates matters. Complicates your plans to take our planet, you mean, Joe said. Korvex's expression tightened. The Confederation Council has sent new instructions. I am authorized to offer Earth provisional membership in the Confederation, with special status acknowledging your heritage. The Secretary General smiled thinly. And if we decline? The Council hopes you will see the benefits of joining a galactic community, Korvex said. Even with your awakened technology, you are new to interstellar affairs. There are threats beyond the Confederation that would not hesitate to exploit that inexperience. Threats or opportunities? Asked Alan. Perhaps there are others who would prefer alliance to subjugation. Lisa studied the alien admiral. The truth is, your Confederation built its power on technology you found but never fully understood. Now you've discovered that the source of that technology is Earth, and that it responds to humans, not you. You're afraid. Korvex did not deny it. The balance of power is shifting. The Confederation must adapt. The Secretary General stood. Admiral Korvex, please inform your council that Earth will consider diplomatic relations with the Confederation and other galactic civilizations. But we will do so as equals, not as subjects. Our planet's sovereignty is not negotiable. After the Admiral departed, the world leaders turned their attention to the immediate future. They established a global transition authority to manage the integration of architect technology, with Lisa appointed as liaison to the control centers. Alan would lead a scientific team studying the vast knowledge databases, while Joe would coordinate security. 1 week later, Lisa stood on the observation deck of the Antarctic Tower, watching as the first Earth ship equipped with architect technology prepared for launch. The sleek vessel bore the name Unity and carried a crew of scientists and diplomats from 12 nations. Alan joined her at the window. The navigational data from the Architect network has been loaded. They'll be able to reach Alpha Centauri in less than a day. The first of many journeys, Lisa said. There are over 50 habitable worlds within our reach using the Gateway network. Some were once our colonies, Alan noted. According to the records, humans, or our ancestors, lived on dozens of planets before the calamity forced them back to Earth. We're going home in a way, Lisa mused. Joe entered with Krilzon, who had chosen to remain on Earth as a scientific advisor. The alien scientist had adapted well to Earth's conditions, though he still found some human customs puzzling. The Confederation has withdrawn to the edge of the solar system, Joe reported. They're maintaining a presence but keeping their distance. And the other galactic powers? Lisa asked. 6 different civilizations have sent diplomatic missions, Krilzon answered. They're eager to establish relations with the children of the architects, as they're calling humans now. Lisa smiled. Quite a change from primitive species on a backwater planet. We have much to learn, Alan said. The architect database contains knowledge we're only beginning to understand. Medical technology that could extend human lifespan by centuries. Engineering principles that defy our current physics. But we'll learn together, Lisa replied. As one world. Outside the window, the Unity rose smoothly into the sky, its hull gleaming in the Antarctic sunlight. It accelerated, upward, leaving a brief trail of blue energy as it passed through the planetary shield. Where will we be in 100 years? Joe wondered aloud. Lisa watched until the ship vanished from sight. The hologram in the control center showed me something yesterday, a projection of Earth's future. Our cities rebuilt with architect technology, in harmony with nature, our people united, healthy, exploring the stars not as conquerors but as returners. And the Confederation? Asked Krilzon. Partners eventually, Lisa replied. The projection showed dozens of civilizations working together, sharing knowledge. Not ruled by Earth, but not ruling it either. Equals. The tower hummed around them. As more systems came online worldwide, Earth continued its awakening, revealing more of what it had always been beneath its surface. Not just a blue planet at the edge of an ordinary galaxy, but the ancestral home of a civilization that had once touched the stars and would again,